Here's a little bit of help solving problem number 1. This problem, we're trying to see if our car battery is any good. So we start by measuring the voltage of the battery when the battery isn't doing anything. So that means we have a voltage of 12.34 when the current from the battery is 0. We then turn on the headlights. It's important to note that the car itself should be off during this procedure. So we turn on the headlights and the voltage drops to 12.07. The current through the headlights will be a combined 1.7 amps. So that is the current coming out of the battery. We now have our ordered pair, 0, 12.34 and 1.7, 12.07. At this point, you should be able to find your slope, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Remember, the slope is the internal resistance of the battery, which goes by the letter R. Once you have your slope, you can then use the formula y equals mx plus b. You can pick either of your points, plug in the y, plug in the x, plug in your slope. Solve for the y-intercept. At this point, it's important to remember that the slope should be a negative number. If it did not come out negative, check your work. Solve for b. The b value should come out to be very close to the voltage of the battery when it was giving out no current. Once we have that, we want to get the maximum current that we can get. Remember, the y is the voltage at the terminals of the battery. The slope is the negative of the internal resistance. The x is the current. And the b is the voltage of the battery when nothing is coming out. You're going to plug 0 in for your terminal voltage, and that will let you find the maximum current. You're going to do this same procedure for all the problems. So in problem 1, we collected our data directly from the car battery. In problem 2, we're going to have a graph. You want to pick any 2 points on the graph, and they do not have to be data points. In fact, I would suggest picking points that are easy to read. Once you have your point, you should be able to find the slope, the y-intercept, and the x-intercept. That is the internal resistance, the electrochemical potential, and the maximum current. In this final example, you're going to have 2 data points, even though it's going to look like only one. You're going to start by getting the resistance of your resistor. You're going to use the current, turn to amps, and you're going to use that to find your voltage. Through Ohm's law. You now have a data point, current, and voltage. And then by looking on the battery, you'll have the voltage you should get when there is no current. So one data point comes directly from the battery, and the other data point comes from the circuit that you are testing. From this, you should be able to find your internal resistance. Your electrochemical potential, again, is the voltage written on the battery. And if you wanted to, and you don't have to, you should be able to find your maximum current.